Yo, what's up guys? I have blown up multiple YouTube channels and right now is probably one of the best times to get into YouTube. Nowadays, almost everyone watches YouTube and it has become one of the biggest platforms in the world. So in today's video, I want to show you how you can start a channel and create completely faceless long-form videos. Videos that can potentially make you hundreds of dollars. I will show you how to find a niche, what you should look out for, how to create the visuals, and then we will edit one complete example video together. So let's get straight into it. The very first step when building a channel is finding a niche. That means what kind of videos are you going to post? For long form videos, one of the easiest ways to find ideas is to go to your YouTube homepage or explore page and look for faceless videos that you could potentially recreate in your own style. For example, here we have an AI generated history video. It looks like some kind of historical AI influencer. But if we check out the channel, we can see that the views are not good enough anymore. Around 1 month ago, the channel was still getting decent views, but the performance has clearly dropped. So this might have been a good niche to start around 1 month ago, but right now it doesn't seem to be trending as much anymore. And this is something you always have to be careful about. Some niches, especially AI-based niches, can be extremely trend-based. They might perform really well for a few weeks or a month, but then the views slowly start to drop. So you always want to take that into account when looking for a niche. But let's keep looking and see if we can find something better. Here we have another AI history channel that is still getting more views. The channel has over 340,000 subscribers. But again, if we check the older uploads, we can see that around 2 months ago, some of the videos were getting 1 or even 2 million views, while the newer uploads are only getting 300,000. This is still good, but the niche has clearly cooled down a little bit. So let's keep looking. Here we have another potential niche. This is from a much bigger animation channel that explains historical topics. The channel has over 1 million subscribers with only around 68 videos. And as you can see, many of the videos have millions of views. If you sort by oldest though, we can see that the channel already started posting around 3 years ago. So this is a well-established channel. And this type of content is not trend-based because the channel is still getting a lot of views today. But ideally, when you are looking for a new niche, you want to find channels that started posting recently. In the best case scenario, they only started 1 or 2 weeks ago. So let's keep looking and see if we can find a channel like that. Okay, here we have another video. This one is about what would happen if Norway won the World Cup. The video uses this really clean 3D documentary style with images, subtle animations and slow camera movement. And if we check the upload date, the video was posted only 9 days ago. Now, if we check the channel, we can see that this is actually the very first upload. The channel only has around 1,500 subscribers, but the video already hit over 300k views. So this is exactly the kind of example we are looking for. The channel was created recently, the first video is already getting a huge number of views, and the format is something we can realistically recreate as a beginner. Obviously, the current video is connected to the World Cup, so that specific topic is trending right now, but this is basically the football documentary style niche, and football is almost always relevant. So even after the World Cup, there are still plenty of topics you could cover in this style. So I think this is the perfect example for today's video. Okay, I sat down and thought of an idea, and for our video, we are going to use the current Switzerland versus Argentina quarterfinal. The game will be tonight. And my idea is, what if Switzerland beats Argentina and reaches the World Cup semi-final? Okay, now the first step would be using AI to come up with an idea, write the script and plan the visuals. You could technically transcribe the original YouTube video, paste it into Claude, add a few reference images, explain that you want to create a similar channel and then slowly work everything out with the AI. But I already told you my idea and I also created a master prompt specifically for this niche. So all you have to do is copy this prompt and paste it into Claude. I will leave the prompt linked in the description. You also want to add a few reference images. Obviously, the prompt is optimized specifically for this niche, so if you are working with a completely different type of channel, it might not work perfectly without adjustments. But you can still paste it into Claude, explain your own niche and ask Claude to adapt the workflow for your idea. Okay, as you can see, Claude has already started creating the script. Since this is only an example for the tutorial, I decided not to make the video too long. Normally a documentary style video like this could easily be 10 minutes long. After writing the script, Claude creates the full scene breakdown. For every scene, it gives us the narration line and the visual purpose. Then we get an image prompt and the Gemini Omni Flash animation prompt for every scene. So every second of the video is planned in advance. If we look at the reference video again, we can see that most of the visuals are actually static 3D freeze frames. The characters and objects are mostly still. The main movement comes from slight camera zooms and slow push-ins. This is what gives the video this professional documentary look without requiring complicated full animation. So now let's see if we can recreate that type of quality in our own style. To create the visuals, we are going to use Higgsfield AI. In my opinion, it's the best platform right now for AI image and AI video creation. If you don't have an account yet, simply sign up. Then the first step is creating the base image. For that, head over to the image section and select Nano Banana 2 Lite. This is one of the cheaper models and it works perfectly for the type of visuals we need. Now go back to Claude, open scene number 1 and copy the Nano Banana 2 Lite image prompt. Then paste it into Higgsfield. You can also upload some of the reference images so Higgsfield understands the general visual direction. Okay, now let's check out the result. As you can see, we have this cool 3D stadium. One half of the crowd is representing Switzerland in red, while the other half represents Argentina in light blue. It looks really clean and professional. So now let's download this image. Then head over to video section and select Gemini Omni Flash, which is one of the new models available inside Higgsfield. Here we can upload the image we just created as the reference image. Then we go back to Claude and copy the Gemini Omni Flash animation prompt for scene number 1. Paste the prompt into Higgsfield, select the correct aspect ratio and press generate. Okay, now let's check out the result. That is actually perfect. It is exactly the style I was looking for. We have the subtle camera push in while the scene itself mostly remains frozen. It feels like a cinematic documentary frame being brought slightly to life. Once we add voiceover, music and sound effects later, it is going to look even better. So scene number 1 is done and we can download the clip. Now we go back to Claude, open scene number 2 and copy the next image prompt. Then go back to Nano Banana 2 Lite and generate the second image. Okay, if we check out the result, it looks really clean again. This time the Swiss players are celebrating while the Argentinian players look devastated. So this will be scene number 2. Download the image, head back to Gemini Omni Flash, upload the new reference image, copy the second animation prompt from Claude and generate the next clip. Again, we have a slow zoom and very subtle movement. So scene number 2 is finished. Now we continue with scene number 3. Copy the image prompt, paste it into Nano Banana 2 Lite and generate the next picture. This time we have the Swiss players celebrating together on the pitch. Some of them are lying on top of each other while one player is frozen in the air. Again, it is a strong freeze frame moment. So let's turn that into a video. Go back to Gemini Omni Flash, upload the image, paste in the corresponding animation prompt and press generate. Yeah, again it looks really clean and super professional. Now you simply repeat this process for the remaining scenes. For every scene, first copy the Nano Banana 2 Lite image prompt, generate the base image, then upload that exact image to Gemini Omni Flash, copy the matching video prompt and generate the animated clip. Continue doing this until every scene in the script has been completed. Okay, I just finished generating the rest of the scenes and as you can see the quality is still very consistent. The clips have this clean, high quality 3D documentary style. They all use subtle motion instead of overly complicated animation. All that's left to do is download every clip. If you want to try Higgsfield yourself, I will leave the link in the description. The final thing we need is the voiceover. For that, go back to Claude and scroll up to the finished script. Copy the narration and open a tool such as 11 Labs. Paste the script into 11 Labs and select the voice that fits the documentary style. Then all we have to do is generate the speech. Once the voiceover is ready, download it. Now we have everything we need. We have the visuals and the complete voiceover. So the final step is putting everything together inside a video editor. Import everything we created and drag the voiceover onto the timeline. Then go through the audio and remove some of the small pauses. This makes the narration more fast-paced and helps keep the viewer engaged. Once you have removed all of the pauses, the voiceover should look something like this. Now we can start adding the visuals. Place them onto the timeline and if you are unsure where each scene belongs, you can go back to Claude and look at the scene breakdown. Claude gives you the exact narration line connected to every visual. So you simply listen to the voiceover and place each clip underneath the matching section. Okay, now it should look something like this. We have the voiceover perfectly matched with the generated visuals and at this point the video is almost finished. Now you can add some sound effects, background music and small editing effects to make everything feel even more cinematic. For example, at the beginning you could add a cinematic boom. When the final whistle is mentioned, you could add a referee whistle or a crowd reaction. Okay, now if you want to try this workflow yourself, I will leave the link to Higgsfield below. I also have a private community where you get direct access to me if you need help finding a niche, creating content, or growing your YouTube channel. But now, let's check out the final result. Personally, I think the result looks amazing, especially considering how quickly we created it.
It's a warm July evening in Kansas City. The whistle has just gone, and Switzerland has done it. Argentina, the defending champions, are out. For the first time in its history, Switzerland stands in a World Cup semifinal. Picture the seconds that follow. Red shirts collapsing onto the grass. In the stands, thousands of Swiss supporters caught between screaming and crying. Back home, deep into the Swiss night, nobody is sleeping. Squares in Zurich, Basel, and Geneva fill with strangers embracing strangers. By morning, one image would sit on every front page. Players known mostly to club fans would wake up as national icons. And somewhere, a child watching this would quietly decide that Switzerland belongs among football's giants. Because a night like this would not just change a tournament, it would change what a small country believes it can be.